Hello there, and welcome to another one of Andre's Extra Unreal videos, where we look behind the scenes of Unreal. There are two main things I want to show you in this video. The first thing is I want to show you guys the old weapon mutator for Unreal Gold that came with the 227 patch. This basically replaces the... So basically, when Unreal was first released in 1998, the weapons made certain sounds and had certain animations. However, very quickly, Epic Games released a patch which basically improved the game, fixed a bunch of bugs and stuff, but it also replaced the original weapon sounds and weapon animations with slightly different ones. And basically what this old weapon mutator for 227 does is it restores the sounds and animations of the original weapons from the original release version of Unreal before the patch. The other thing I want to show you guys is I want to read some of the manual that came with Unreal. Remember back in the 90s when games came with manuals? Well, yeah, I want to show you some of the stuff from the actual Unreal manual. Okay, so before I talk about that stuff, I just want to give you guys a brief update. So, as you might remember, when I made my Andre's Extra video showing off the Unreal Gold weapons and items and monsters, I tried to actually get the old weapon mutator to run, and it didn't work. And I've been trying to figure out what the problem with my Unreal is, why it wasn't working. And after a bit of research, I found out that actually I messed up my installation of Unreal. This whole time, throughout all my Unreal videos I've been making on my YouTube channel, my installation was actually buggy, was actually faulty. So it's a bit embarrassing. But yeah, basically the problem was the 227K patch isn't a fully working patch yet. It's effectively just a delta. It's just like a bunch of extra files and stuff, but it's not a fully working patch. So what I did is I installed Unreal from the CD and then copied and pasted the 227K files onto my installation and played the game. What I should have done is I should have installed the game from the CD, installed the 227J patch so the 227J patch was fully working, and then on top of that, copied and pasted the 227K files. So because I didn't do it the way I was supposed to, there have been files missing or bits of files missing or whatever the problem was. My game was not fully working as it was intended. This explains why the old weapon mutator wasn't working, and it also explains why there was a bug with the textures. If we, for instance, if we go to Terraniacs, if we look at, see, remember this thing, this force field? Back when I was playing my playthrough, this force field was like buggy. The texture was like buggy. It had weird artifacts on it. It wasn't working. But now that I've actually installed 227J properly, the force field looks perfect. It works very nicely now. Okay. Oh shit! I didn't realize because I went open Unreal through the console, it's actually spawned me with my weapon and everything here. That's pretty funny. Okay, in that case, let me just go disconnect. Okay, I'll do that. What was I saying? So, okay, that explains the problem with my 227K installation. So now let's actually show off the old weapon mutator. So as I mentioned, basically this mutator replaces the usual Unreal weapons and their sounds and their animations with the original ones that came when Unreal was first released. They were quickly patched out. So okay, let us do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to not deathmatch. No, I want to go new, advanced. Let's do a single player match in. Let's go gateway. And first of all, I'm going to do it without the old weapons mutator. Let's look at this. Yep. Okay, cool. I'm going to summon all the weapons. Summon AutoMag. Note the sound when you pick it up. Summon Stinger. Summon ASMD. Summon 8-ball. Summon Flak Cannon. Summon RazorJack. Summon GES BioRifle. Summon Rifle. And summon Minigun. And now go all ammo to myself. 999 ammo in all of them. Now, I'm going to save it here. Go save. And now, I'm going to load Gateway again, but with the old weapon mutator, so we can compare. Okay, old weapon mutator on. I'm in Gateway. Okay, let's walk down here. Note the different sounds. AutoMag. Stinger. ASMD. 8-ball. Flak Cannon. RazorJack. GES BioRifle. And I'm getting these weird error messages, probably because it's trying to spawn the original Unreal weapon, but then the mutator is saying, no, 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 you can't do that. Actually spawn the mutator version of the weapon instead. Rifle. And minigun. And we go all ammo. And now let me save this over here. So, now we compare them. If we look at the normal weapon sounds, this is the sound you get. That's the sound you get when you switch to the Dispersion Pistol. You see these beams? They don't have any sparkly effects on them. They're just plain blue beams. We can also summon weapon power up. Oh, first I want to show you the alternate fire. Alternate fire loads up. We can also summon weapon power up. Alternate fire is still blue. Note the sounds, note the textures. Okay. Now, if we load the old weapon mutator, that's the noise it makes. It makes a different noise. And see, when you shoot it, it has like a sparkle effects on it. And right click where you load up. Weapon power up. Now it's yellow with sparkle effects. Weapon power up. So basically, yeah, it's just a change in sound and it has sparkle effects. Cool. Okay. Now, AutoMag. That's the normal AutoMag switch to AutoMag sound. Primary fire. Alternate fire. Less accurate but faster. Now if we switch to the old weapons, AutoMag sound is different. Primary fire. Alternate fire. Different sounds. Okay, normal weapon sounds or normal weapon mode for Stinger. That's the sound it makes when you draw it, when you switch to the Stinger. Primary fire. And alternate fire. Different sound for the old weapons. Primary fire. And alternate fire. It's different. Okay, back to normal weapons. ASMD. Primary fire. Alternate fire. And the combo. If you hit an alternate fire ball with the primary fire beam, there's a big explosion. Old weapons. Different sound. Primary fire. Alternate fire. And the combo. Different sounds. Okay, normal weapons. 8-ball. Primary fire. Alternate fire. Old weapons. So let me hear that again. It's a slightly different sound. Primary fire. Alternate fire. Actually, is the lock-on sound the same? Let me check the lock-on sound. So that's the old weapon lock-on sound, and the normal weapon lock-on sound is it's different. It's different. Interesting. Okay, Flak Cannon. Normal weapon Flak Cannon. That's the sound it makes. Primary fire. And alternate fire. Old weapons, Flak Cannon. Primary fire. And alternate fire. RazorJack. Primary fire. Alternate fire. Old weapons. RazorJack. Let's listen to that again. Primary fire. Alternate fire. Different effects. Different sounds. I think the only weapon that changes this like actual visually, the only weapon that changes something visually, I think, is the Dispersion Pistol. The rest of the weapons just basically change their sound effects, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay, normal weapon for the GES BioRifle. This is the sound it makes when you switch to it. Primary fire. Alternate fire. Just waiting for it to explode. Now the old weapon, a slightly different sound to switch to it. Different sounds. That's still the same sound. But when it hits the wall, it makes a different sound, and when it explodes, it makes a different sound. Okay, normal weapons, rifle. That's the sound it makes when you switch to it. Primary fire. And alternate fire is zoom in. Now with the old weapons. Different noise. Primary fire is different noise. And alt fire is also zoom in. This is interesting because there's actually an earlier version of the rifle, like before Unreal was released, one of the early versions of the rifle actually had the alternate fire do like a 3-round burst rather than zooming in. So I wasn't sure whether these old weapons would actually, I wasn't sure whether they would do the zooming in for the alternate fire or whether they would do the 3-round burst. Either way, sounds different. And last but not least, minigun on normal weapons. That's the sound it makes when you switch to it. Primary fire. Alternate fire. Old weapons. Minigun. Different noise. Primary fire. Alternate fire. So yeah, it's subtle differences, but you can definitely hear them. And yeah, that is pretty much it for showing off the old weapon mutator. Now I will show you guys the manual for Unreal. So let me just switch to that. So to start with, let's look at the manual of the original Unreal. Just like I mentioned before, back in the 90s, games would actually come with these little booklets. When you bought a game, inside the box for the game, you got a booklet which would explain like how to install the game, how to play the game, sort of give you a bit of story, give you a lot of flavor text, sort of explaining a bunch of things, and that's what we're going to read. The manual that came with the original Unreal. So the cover of it, it says Prisoner Transport Log. You can see it sort of looks like a log for the Vortex Rikers, you know, it's very like thematically designed. Okay. That's the inside page, inside cover. Now, story. This is the best part. The anticipation. Slowly, laboriously, but insistently, you ascend toward the boundless turquoise sky. As the struggling coaster reaches the peak of the hill, you raise your hands above your head in defiance of your frantically pounding heart. Time and the entire world stand still for a moment, and then whoosh! Toward the ground you plummet, the sky you faced a moment ago now at your back. The coaster trembles as it races downwards and the air fills with the delighted screams of those around you. You close your eyes and drink in the feeling of pure, rapturous freedom that engulfs you. Crash! Your eyes snap open as you are pitched violently from your bed onto the cold metal floor of your cell. The ship is trembling and the air is filled with screams and shouts of the prisoners in the cells around you. As you gather your senses, you quickly remember where you are. The Vortex Rikers. The rankest prison transport vessel this side of the Milky Way, and the furthest thing in the universe from the freedom of your dreams. But something is not right. Emergency lights are flashing on and off in the walkway beyond your cell. A sulphurous, burning odor invades your nostrils and stings your eyes. You pick yourself up off the ground, holding onto the iron bed frame for balance as the floor shudders beneath you. Looking through the plasma-gated entryway of your cell, you see guards and officials running up and down the walkway like frantic worker ants. "Hey, what the hell's going on?" you shout. But your voice is lost among the shouts of your fellow prisoners and the wailing of the ship's alert siren. The ants tripping over each other in the walkway don't even glance at you. You know from experience that trying to break through the plasma gate will only result in frustration and a nasty headache. If this bucket is going down, I am not going to die like a caged rat in this stinking cell, you tell yourself. I've got to get to the emergency shuttle. Just then, the cell block's head guard pauses outside your cell to scrawl something in his ever-present logbook. "Hey Ash, what the hell's going on?" "What do you think's going on, genius? We're going down. Now shut up, now shut your yap and strap yourself in." "Are you insane? Turn off the gates, let us get to the shuttle." Ash's smirk and amused snort before he walks away fill you with almost enough rage to burst right through the plasma gate and tear his head off. Ash! Ash, open the damn gates! Don't leave us in here! Wait a minute! Open the freaking gates, you son of a... A tremendous jolt rocks the ship and sends you hurtling across the cell into the rear wall. You feel the sickening introduction of bone to iron, and then nothing at all. Later, perhaps hours, perhaps days, you wake up. Your body is battered and dehydrated, but somehow you survived the crash. The plasma gate is disabled. Beyond the entryway of your cell, freedom beckons. But where are you? Has anyone else survived? And what awaits you beyond the confines of the crumpled Rikers? There's only one way to find out, you say to yourself. Slowly, laboriously, but insistently, you emerge from your cell. So that's sort of like a story so far, giving you a bit of an introduction, a bit of a taste into the story of Unreal, sort of explaining where you are. Like I said, this is basically flavor text. Like you can just start the game and start with the introduction. Like when you start Unreal, you just wake up in your cell and you don't know what's going on. You sort of got to piece together the story as you play. But this is kind of like a bit of a thematic sort of introduction. Okay. How to install it? Thank God Kobe was able to repair the translator. Without it, we wouldn't have a chance. Yeah. Your primary objective in Unreal is to discover how to get off this hostile, deadly world. In order to do this, the first thing you'll need to concern yourself with is how to keep your already battered body in one piece. Failure to achieve this objective will render any secondary objective somewhat irrelevant. Beyond that, it is up to you to uncover the secrets of the planet that fate has capriciously deposited you on. Several universal translators were stowed aboard the Rikers and carried by the guards. Finding a translator is vital to your survival. The translator can analyze and interpret many of the objects, devices, and inscriptions of the planet. It will frequently reveal valuable information and help you figure out many of the planet's mysteries. Okay. It's interesting, like, reading the stuff to sort of see maybe like, I wonder at what point during development this booklet was written. It's interesting sort of seeing sides of the lore that weren't explicitly in the game. Main menu, how to play the game, all the stuff. Or like how to start the game, load and save. Multiplayer. Okay, how to do multiplayer and stuff. Interesting, it mentions exiting allowed. When exiting is allowed, players are able to change the level being played by passing through an exit. If exiting is disabled, only the game's host can change the level being played. This actually was not implemented in Unreal, so this is in the manual. But this was never implemented in the final game, not even in any of the patches, like not in any of the official patches at least. It was only implemented in some community-made like extra mods that improve the co-op experience. But yeah, interesting that this was perhaps originally intended to be part of the original design of Unreal. And notice it says passing through an exit rather than passing through the exit. This is also an indication that originally in Unreal there were going to be more than one exit to maps. Something that I talk about more when I play through the Unreal beta and I talk about the hub maps and the way that the Unreal beta is actually designed. Because Unreal went through many changes to get to the state it's in that we actually play it in the released version. Okay. How to do bot maps. Yep. Okay. Options. The heads up display and everything. Okay. It's just telling you like what basically how to play. Because don't forget, back in the 90s, this for many people this would have been their very first person shooter. You know, for many people, this would be the very first time they ever played a game like Unreal. So it's telling you a lot of things, how to actually play it. So you know everything we take for granted these days, you know, they have to actually explain. Similarly, things like how to use a mouse. For many people, this would have been the very first game that they actually looked around with a mouse, or even the very first game they used a mouse in at all. So, because mice for computer gaming was extremely new back in the late 90s. So, this is all new stuff they have to explain. Yeah, ASMD, Dobbs is trying to figure out combo attack. Okay. Picking things up in Unreal is a simple matter of running over them. Any object you run over will automatically be added to your inventory or put to use depending on the object. If you already have the maximum allowed number of an object or cannot use an object, you will not pick it up when you run over it. So it's saying that there's no button to pick things up, you just will run over them. In most instances, you open doors simply by running into them. There will be times when doors are locked and require a key, or that a certain action be performed before they can be opened. I can't really think of any instances in Unreal where you need a key, like not explicitly a key. There's sometimes a button that you press to activate the door, but there are no real keys. Note, some of the doors and lifts in the game are automatically activated when they detect your motion or body heat as you approach them. If you have trouble activating one of the sensor-controlled devices, move back to reset the sensor and approach the door or lift again. Pushing things. To push objects, buttons, switches and levers. Run straight into the object you want to interact with. If the object can be moved or interacted with, this will take place immediately. So yeah, it's explaining that unlike some other games, there's no interact key. Okay, why you should use the mouse. Okay, so let's look at the database of... This is more the flavor text of all the weapons and items. Dispersion Pistol. This is a standard issue weapon of the Guard aboard the Vortex Rikers. While not particularly powerful in its standard configuration, this gun becomes a virtual death cannon when supercharged with power-ups. The Dispersion Pistol automatically regenerates its infinite ammo supply, so you will never be defenseless with this weapon in your arsenal. So it implies that the Dispersion Pistol is actually a human-made weapon, because it's the standard issue weapon among the Guards of the Vortex Rikers. Okay. Primary fire. Initially low power, high illumination energy projectile. Can be useful for lighting up dark areas. Very destructive when supercharged with power-ups. Secondary fire. Projectile energy is charged up to 500% as the fire button is held down. Okay. AutoMag. This easy-to-handle gun uses gunpowder-based bullets in dual clips of 10 for ammunition. Try to keep track of how many bullets you have left in a clip. Attempting to change clips with a pissed off scar in your face is not advised. So yeah, they talk about the fact that there's actually 20 bullets per clip, and when your clip runs out, it has to like reload clips. Primary fire. Traditional carriage, accurate, slow. Secondary fire. Gangster style, sideways carriage. Less accurate, much faster rate of fire. Stinger. Proving that hostility is the mother of invention, Stinger is actually a Teridium mining tool converted to a deadly weapon. In primary fire mode, this weapon demands a relatively high degree of marksmanship, but the wider projectile spread of the secondary fire mode requires considerably less precision. Primary fire. Fast narrow stream of Teridium shards. Secondary fire. Spurt of 5 shards at once. Slow reload. ASMD. If the compressed energy in the core of this weapon was released all at once, the resulting force would be enough to bring down a large building. The comparatively small energy bursts released with each squeeze of the ASMD's trigger are still more than enough to put a world of hurt on most targets. Primary fire, lightning fast burst of focused energy. Secondary fire, unstable energy projectile, expands radially. Rumors of a combination attack persist, hinting at the ASMD combo. 8-ball launcher, the weapon of choice for the demolitionist at heart. The 8-ball launcher fires both rockets and grenades, singly or up to 6 at once. Rockets explode on contact, while grenades explode 2 to 3 seconds after they are launched. Center your aim on your target to initiate the 8-ball launcher's heat-seeking lock. Primary fire, rocket launcher. Hold down fire button to load multiple rockets. To fire rockets in a tight circle, press both primary and secondary fire simultaneously and release the primary fire as rockets are loading. Secondary fire, grenade launcher. Hold down fire button to load multiple grenades. Flak Cannon. The somewhat cumbersome Flak Cannon uses jagged shards of metal for ammunition. Don't let its lack of pyrotechnic flash fool you. A little shrapnel can dish out a hell of a lot of damage. Primary fire. Extremely fast spray of shrapnel which ricochet off walls, ceilings and floors. Secondary fire. Large shrapnel-filled shell explodes on impact, spraying shrapnel in all directions. RazorJack. This Skaarj weapon fires large, splitting, serrated blades, capable of slicing through all but the toughest materials. The blades can alter their pitch and roll in accordance with transmitted motion signals from the RazorJack, giving them limited guidance. Primary fire. Single blades that ricochet off walls, ceilings and floors. Secondary fire. Skilled users can employ English to alter the trajectory of the blades after they leave the weapon. That's interesting. Can employ English. Does that mean like were you originally meant to talk to the blade? I think because I know that in secondary fire when you move to the left or right or up and down, the razor blade sort of follows the way you move. But interesting way it's worded. GES BioRifle. A testament to creative recycling, this weapon uses volatile Teridium waste for ammunition. The highly unstable nature of this waste makes the GES BioRifle more powerful than its Teridium-using cousin, the Stinger. Primary fire. Teridium sludge projectiles explode on contact with living tissue and adhere to most other surfaces for a short time before exploding. Secondary fire. Hold down the secondary fire button to launch a larger, more powerful glob of sludge. The longer you hold down the secondary fire button, the bigger the glob, up to 500% sludge. Assault rifle. Interesting here it's called the assault rifle, whereas in the game it's only ever called the rifle. Okay, assault rifle. Commonly referred to as the pocket howitzer, this 5-foot-long blaster packs an incredible wallop. Formerly used as a hunting rifle in the farthest reaches of the galaxy, it was useful for taking down the biggest game. Primary fire. Long range, powerful, accurate. Primary fire. Long range, very powerful, accurate. Secondary fire. Tool burst of slugs. Less accurate, best used in close quarters. This is what I mentioned before in my video, that originally the secondary fire of the rifle would like shoot 3 shots at once in like a less accurate but like more powerful shot. Whereas shortly before the game was actually released, they changed it to make it so that secondary fire was your zoom. Minigun. Like the AutoMag, the minigun uses gunpowder-based bullets for ammo. However, it has a much faster rate of fire and a much greater ammo capacity. Primary fire. Steady stream of bullets. Fast. Accurate. Secondary fire. More rapid but less accurate stream of bullets. Okay, now let's look at the inventory items. Universal Translator. Provides you with vital information, clues and hints about the game. Whenever you encounter an item the translator can analyze and interpret, a message will display on your screen and your translator icon will begin to flash. Hit F2 to activate your translator and read its analysis. Hit F2 again to deactivate the translator when you are done. Amplifier. Dramatically increases the power of energy weapons, Dispersion Pistol and ASMD. Dampener. Deadens the sound emitted from your weapons, making it much easier to launch sneak attacks. Flare. Provides temporary light in dark areas when lit and tossed on the ground. You cannot hold onto a lit flare. Use a flare to add temporary light to an area. Flashlight. Use a flashlight when you need to carry your light source with you. Flashlights have limited battery life, however, so keep an eye on the power meter. Force Field. Creates a temporary impenetrable barrier, useful for blocking entryways and narrow corridors and for use as a protective shield. Invisibility. Makes you temporarily invisible. But remember, even the wind can be heard. Jump Boots. Activating the jump boots enables you to jump much higher than normal. Once picked up, the boots only last for a short period of time, so take advantage of them while you can. Scuba Gear. Gives you the ability to breathe while underwater. Searchlight. Functions like a flashlight but has a near inexhaustible power supply. Nali Fruit Seed. Plant one of these to grow a Nali healing fruit. Once the plant grows to full size, it can give you a 29 unit health boost. If you eat the plant before it is fully grown, your health gain will be less substantial. Voice Box. Creates a sound diversion to distract your enemies. So that was inventory items, like things that you sort of carry with you and can use, like can turn on and off basically. Now you have pickup items, which are sort of things which don't actually appear in your inventory. Instead, as soon as you walk over them, you just pick them up. So it says, it's often wise to leave a pickup item on the ground and come back to pick it up when you need to use it. Bandages. These provide limited healing, 5 units of health, but do little to reverse the effects of major damage. Nali Healing Fruit. This native plant has natural healing properties. When eaten, it can give you a 29 unit health boost. In multiplayer games, Nali Healing Fruits regrow soon after they are picked up. Interesting. Well, that's not really true. I think in co-op games, they don't respawn by default. Whereas in deathmatch games, or in bot match games, all the items respawn. So it's kind of weird for them to single out. See, in co-op games, no items respawn except weapons. And in deathmatch games, all items respawn. So it's weird for them to single out the Nali Healing Fruit as the item that respawns. Super Health. Boosts your health by 100 units. Don't waste super health by using it when you are close to full health, 200 units. Wait until you need a big health boost before you pick it up. Note, you cannot exceed 100 health without one of these. Armor. You will find many different types of armor throughout the game, all of which increase your resistance to damage from weapons and impact. Certain types of armor provide better protection from certain forms of attack. The more damage your armor absorbs, the weaker it becomes. Keep an eye on your armor level indicator to see how much strength your armor has. Once your armor level reaches 0, the armor no longer offers you any protection. Asbestos Suit. Provides resistance to fire and heat damage. Interesting, because the asbestos suit didn't actually appear in the original Unreal. Like, it appeared in the game's code, but it didn't actually appear in any of the maps. The first time you see it is actually in Return to Na Pali. Or I guess, like I said, if you could find the item and summon it in the original Unreal, but it never appeared naturally in the campaign. Kevlar Suit. Works in conjunction with armor to provide even greater protection from damage. Anti-Toxin Suit. Prevents damage from Terran waste pools and other toxic areas. Yes, here it's called the Anti-Toxin Suit, whereas in the game they just call it the Toxin Suit. Note, all protective suits increase your overall resistance to any sort of damage to some degree. Like armor, protective suits become weaker as they absorb damage. Creatures. Following are just some of the creatures that inhabit the world of Unreal. Unfortunately, all current information was transcribed from a mangled diary of a former member of the Vortex Riker's crew. As such, it is sketchy at best. In addition, it is believed that there are different ranks and/or genetic mutations of some of the creatures listed, and there appears to be communication among the various species and some type of hierarchy among them. Needless to say, you would be wise to use caution at all times. Skaarj. Height, 8 foot. Weight, 375 pounds. Weapons, blade-like claws, projectile. Characteristics, extremely aggressive, superior agility, ruthless and cunning. Instinctive hunters with extraordinary physical strength and the ability to use numerous weapons. Their huge retractable claws can literally slice their prey to pieces. To make matters worse, there are many types of Skaarj, and some of them wear armor. Slith, height 12 feet, weight 385 pounds. Weapons, claws, acid spit. Characteristics, very aggressive, average agility, flesh eater. These amphibious cousins of the Skaarj are deadly both on land and in the water. If they don't reach you with their razor-sharp claws, watch out for their flesh-eating acid spit. See, it's interesting, this actually refers to Sliths as cousins of the Skaarj, and I mentioned before in my videos, in the video where I was talking through all of the weapons and items and monsters of Unreal, that like, Sliths being the cousins of the Skaarj kind of doesn't really make sense in-game, because you never find the Sliths on Skaarj ships or in like places where like Skaarj are, or like you find Sliths with the mercenaries, or it just doesn't really. They sort of look a bit like Skaarj, but like there's never any indication they came to Na Pali along with the Skaarj on the Skaarj mothership. Mercenary, height 6 feet, weight 250 pounds. Weapons, forearm mounted machine gun / missile launcher. Characteristics, very aggressive, high agility, looter / soldier, galaxy roving bioengineered hunters with a lust for wealth. There may be a humanoid beneath all of that circuitry, but the only way to find out is to blast your way through it. Krall, height 7 foot, weight 285 pounds. Weapon, concussion staff, melee and projectile. Characteristics, very aggressive, superior agility, military / martial. Employed by the Skaarj as hunting assistants, somewhat limited in intelligence, but then mindless slaughter doesn't require a whole lot of thought. Their concussion staffs can blast you backwards from a considerable distance. Brute, height 9 foot, weight 650 pounds. Weapons, 2 arm-mounted guns. Characteristics, very aggressive, poor agility, durable / relentless. Engineered with love by the Skaarj for one purpose, carnage. Your best chance of survival against these killing machines is to take advantage of their poor agility. So this is where it mentions that they're engineered by the Skaarj. I said before in my video, I could have sworn the Brute are like genetically engineered by the Skaarj, but I realized nowhere in the actual game does it tell you that, but it does tell you in the manual. That's how I knew it. Titan, height 30 feet, weight 15 to 16 tons. Weapons, hurled rocks, powerful arms. Characteristics, very aggressive, poor agility, extremely durable. The colossal titan is nothing short of unstoppable, and he's a little tougher than he looks. The wise will avoid him when possible. If avoidance is not an option, don't stand in one spot very long and stay out of his reach. Nali, height 8 foot, weight 165 pounds. Weapons, limited telekinetic ability. Characteristics, very passive, shy / timid, occasionally helpful. Former benevolent rulers of the planet, now enslaved by the Skaarj. If you are fortunate, they may grace you with some valuable information about your surroundings. And that is basically it. Now we just have the technical, end user license agreement, the technical notes, a bunch of things like this, and a bunch of ads. Yeah, interesting. It says F4 is bringing up the scoreboard. In the very first unpatched version of Unreal, F4 was the button to bring up the scoreboard, and then they soon changed it in one of the patches to F1. But yeah, okay, cool. That was the Unreal manual. Now it's time to look at the Return to Na Pali manual. Okay, let's look at the manual for Return to Na Pali. This one's in color. I guess it's a different shape. Like the Unreal manual looks like it was sort of like a booklet in the actual box that the game comes with, where this looks like it was inside the CD cover. But yeah, Unreal Mission Pack 1, Return to Na Pali. They planned on making a bunch of other mission packs, but none of them were ever released. But I actually have more to say about that maybe in future when I show off some content, which, never mind, I'll save it for later. We'll see in one of my many later other videos where I talk about what could have been and what have been recovered. Anyway, okay, return to Na Pali. How to install it, okay. Back for more. You survived the wreck of the Vortex Riders and fought your way off Na Pali, only to find yourself trapped in a stranded life pod, waiting to die. You thought anything would be better than a slow suffocation in orbit, until you were rescued and sent back down to the surface. The salvage mission they assigned you to actually sounded appealing at first. A chance for revenge, to return with plenty of weapons, ammo, armor, health packs, maybe even some backup. But the expectation of any support was just a dream, like your hope for freedom. Your so-called rescuers sent you back to Na Pali with nothing more than your dispersion pistol and a heart full of bitter resentment. Back to where the brutes, the titans, and the other Skaarj watchdogs would be waiting. Waiting, but not suspecting. Not even their twisted alien logic could predict that the one creature who escaped, the human who took so many lives and so many risks just to leave Na Pali behind, would actually return. But you have returned. And so it begins. Again. New weapons. Oh, it is black and white, never mind. Just the title page was actually in colour, but the actual the inside of the menu was black and white. Okay. New weapons. Grenade launcher. This cumbersome but potent weapon lobs large explosive shells that go off a few seconds after being discharged. The secondary fire ejects a special grenade that detonates when the secondary fire button is hit a second time, or when triggered by another explosion or impact. Rocket launcher. The rocket launcher is a medium to long range destructive device that fires a high power incendiary missile. The missile explodes on impact and releases a sizable shockwave. The secondary fire utilizes a responsive missile equipped with a remote guidance system that follows directions indicated by the launcher. For example, move the weapon to the left after deploying the secondary fire and the missile will veer left. This remote control feature remains active until the missile explodes. Combat Assault Rifle. This rapid-fire automatic weapon is similar in function to the minigun, but the Combat Assault Rifle boasts greater accuracy and larger rounds than its formidable cousin. The secondary fire emits a cluster of 5 rounds that explode on impact. This all-purpose weapon is effective at short, medium, and long ranges. New enemies. Spiders. Interesting, in-game they're called spinners, but this calls them spiders. Over the millennia of their existence, these large territorial arachnids have evolved their web-spinning glands into dangerous projectile weapons. They fire slow-moving but deadly orbs of poisonous plasma that delivers a substantial attack. Their close-range fang attack should also be avoided. Pack hunters. Once again, in-game they're called predators, but this calls them pack hunters. Small but blindingly fast. Pack hunters are reptilian predators equipped with rows of armor-shredding teeth and insatiable appetites. While 1 or 2 shots from most weapons will destroy a single hunter, they compensate for their lack of armor by outnumbering and overwhelming their prey. Masters of efficient killing, a swarm of 5 to 7 hunters can deflesh a creature the size of a brute in a matter of seconds. Since they possess no long-range attacks, and the close-range attacks are so lethal, pack hunters are best handled from a distance. Terran Marines. The Terran Marine is the pride of the Terran Unified Military Services. These elite combat soldiers are heavily armoured and carry the latest Terran weapons, including the CAR, that's Combat Assault Rifle, Grenade Launcher, and Rocket Launcher. They often use short-range meta-transmitters to teleport into battle from dropships above the combat zone. Marines are the toughest opponents you'll face. They are smart, fast, and deadly. And now it talks about the the multiplayer game mode. You've got Gravity Match, you've got Cloak Match, Terran Weapon Match, and Marine Match. It's nothing really that interesting. And then that's the end of that. More just all this stuff. Well, cool. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time with whatever I have planned next. Bye!